Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Dhena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Earlier, I was talking to Krishna Murari Prabhu about the Harinam Sankirtan we have here, because he's born into an artistic family, extra talented in many ways. And he's the one who designs the Sadhu Sangha every year. It's very sublime when you walk in. There's a feeling you get, and it's very subtle, but aesthetically extremely pleasing. But he's like that. Anyway, we've been talking about this for a long time. That is just that, of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he performed Harinam Sankirtan, he would frame the kirtan in such a way that it would attract people's attention. He handpicked the dancers. He handpicked the madanga players. He handpicked the singers. Of course, they didn't have microphones, but they would sing in unison and then, have singers that would be loud enough. And he wanted to look really nice, and not just look nice, but he wanted those who were singing to have that feeling they were actually qualified to sing and participate in the kirtan. Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed at Srivas Thakur's house, where he came there every night with all the other devotees, and they entered deeply into that private kirtan. Others couldn't get in unless they had the right mood. They were entering into it. Sometimes you need that, and to actually discover the depth of the chanting. And then he asked them all to go out and sing kirtan. But it's notable how he wanted it to be attractive to people. And for some years here at ISV, we've had our laboratory, and where we're experimenting with the public Harinam in order to make it attractive. And we've noticed that the more thought that we've put into framing it, that the team headed by Shamalangi and Nilesh and others have developed a festival that you set up, and when people come by, then they get attracted. And especially we notice that if the beat is something and the tune that's something they can relate to, they get more caught up in it. It's like a trance. When I was talking to Krishna Murari earlier, he was saying that the effect would be, I forget which context it was, but they would be arrested by the kirtan. So we've seen this actually. People are walking down the street, minding their own business. They have this idea, I'm going down to the restaurant. They have a conception of where they are. In fact, they have no idea where they are. They're just walking on a planet, sort of with this a misconception that I'm an American, I'm a Californian, I'm lucky, whatever it is. And then they hear the kirtan, and they are arrested by it. And we watch that, and I think, to me, that's the most interesting and compelling, satisfying vision in the world, to see people get arrested by the kirtan. Partly, it proves to us the efficacy of the kirtan. There's a way in which, in Vedic times, the Brahmanas would test their mantras. In fact, they would be able to take an animal, like a cow or a goat, and then they would kill the animal, but the mantras would bring it back. And this was to test the mantra, the efficacy of the mantra. So similarly, we test it by taking it out. What is the efficacy of our own mantra? Are we able to capture our own mind and also the minds of others? But when we actually see it, and we notice they can't get away, and they see there's something here, as Prabhupada mentions in one purport, that when one begins to hear the sound, that I've never heard anything like that. It's entrancing, actually. You hear it, and it's Krishna. I mean, I remember when I used to hear the devotees chanting Krishna, and I couldn't get it out of my head quite. What is that Krishna? It sounds so like, well, Krishna, that's and then you smell the incense, and I can't stop remembering the smell of the incense. Krishna gets in you. In the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam,
gopis were saying how, of course, they're the eternal associates of the Lord, but they were describing the attachment in poetical terms that they had to Krishna. They couldn't stop thinking of him. They said it's like mango sap. It gets in your hair. You can't get it out. There's no thing. It's like, there it is. So Krishna's like that. And so that's the most exciting work that anybody could do, would be to organize ways in which to make people be attracted or arrested by the holy name, and putting all of one's talents, whether it's management or it's artistic skills or it's kirtan, and working as a team, all come together for this way in which that powerful vibration goes out into the public. It's after hearing Devamrita Swami's masterful class the other night, I mean, it was just, if this roof wasn't nailed down so tightly, it would have been gone by now. But he built such a compelling case in the Sunday program. In a subtle way, he kept showing how futile living in the material world is and trying to adjust things so that you can be happy. And then he pointed out how people have gone back to this idea that, well, we are our bodies, and let's just embrace it, and maybe that'll work. And it's not working at all. It's going the other direction. And then he enticed us that, we'll give you the solution, that we have the solution. It's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the end, actually, it was so simple what he said, wasn't it? At the very end, he said that if you work for Lord Chaitanya's mission, to try to spread the mission that he started, that you'll attract the attention of Mahaprabhu. And from that, you'll develop a taste for Krishna consciousness. And when I was speaking with Maharaj when he was staying at our house, we were going over various parts of Shastra in which this is described. One of them is Prabodhananda Saraswati's Chaitanya Chandamrita, where he says that the more that one surrenders to Lord Chaitanya and his process of Sankirtan, the more one develops an affinity for loving Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. And there are other places. Bhaktivinoda Thakur talks about it in the Navadita Mahatmya, and of course in the famous song Gaurang Gera Dyuti Pada. Famously, Narottam Das Thakur says this, that those who dive into the ocean of Sankirtan come out on the shore of the pastimes of Radha and Krishna and so forth. And so after I heard that, it reminded me of the importance of focusing one's attention on how to popularize the chanting of Hare Krishna, and really using all facility to do that, because that will really solve the problem that people are looking for. And when we spoke some months earlier, or maybe it was last year, I was thinking about when some particular substance gets stuck, then you need a solvent. I was really on a solvent kick for a while. Because a solvent means that there's a particular thing, a substance that will unlock the chain that's holding the substance, in your cloth or whatever it is. You can look it up online. Maybe it's club soda. I don't know. For certain things, there's a combination of things. But the holy name is the universal solvent. It actually cures the disease people have. It solves their problems. And Rupa Goswami says that even if somebody's completely blind to the truth, they have no idea what you're doing, if they hear the holy name chanted, he said, it gives them in an instant an inkling for what is bhakti. Isn't that amazing? Like they just sense it, it comes out of them, and you see people, they get naturally compelled. They don't even know why, but they're interested, they're fascinated in some cases, and then some are just ready to grab on. Because actually nobody's really got anything better to do anywhere in the universe. That's one thing. Often we think that maybe we're bothering people, maybe they're busy, progress is going on, but it's not, actually. And you see that when you go out into the public or you go door to door and you meet people and you're bringing books or the holy name, and you just see it's the same old thing going on. And in fact, the devotees were talking about downtown San Francisco. It's this really opulent city. It costs millions of dollars to have an apartment in the city. But if you get down on the street level, as they say in English, it's bloody hell. I mean, it's, there's people dying on the street there. Well, yeah, I mean, it's full of homeless people, but dying, their souls are dying too, because it's a concrete canyon, and they're going from one place to the next, as Devamrita Swami was describing, trying to devote themselves to the cause of work, and it's really killing them. And Krishnamurari Prabhu was saying that wherever people go, they see the same old architecture. If you drive up and down, you see billboards, and you see these box stores. It really is disappointing to the human spirit to see all this stuff. It makes aesthetic beauty makes a difference to the soul. Prabhupada points that out throughout the Bhagavatam. I was in Okinawa earlier, and that island would be kind of beautiful if there weren't so many U.S. military bases there. They're all over the place. It's a strategic place. I mean, it's really close to China and everything else. So U.S. has been there for a long time, since World War II. And also, all the places there, all the apartments, houses, they're all built to survive typhoons. And so they're not beautiful. They're like locked down, and there's no pieces that will go flying off. So I was wondering, why is it that this island is not attractive? Of course, the devotees are there, and that's attractive. But other than that, aesthetically, it's not. And then we went back to the mainland of Japan, and suddenly the architecture is different, the design different, the embellishments are there, and I felt a little bliss just from the environment. So I'm just saying that we're meant to present aesthetic beauty and the actual spiritual sense gratification. That's the only thing that will be able to attract people away from the sense of duty to the material world and their hope that there'll be something here. They have to have a higher taste. And we can do that. So that's why we need more artists in the world. More artists and more beauty, more aesthetic presentation, so that when people see it, you don't have to say anything. It's already thought out. The heart has already manifested there in the beauty that's presented and the thoughtfulness. And when they see it, they're overwhelmed, and then add that, their heart opens up because of that, and then the holy name goes right in, and then they're finished. It's all over. Damage is done. It can't be recovered. So we're meant to do a lot more damage than we're doing now, and we have to really use all the talent that's in our midst, here and around the world, to come together to work cooperatively to make Harinam popular everywhere. It's fine to go out and chant Hare Krishna everywhere. In fact, it's the most recommended thing you can do. But it's even more recommended to think about how to present it so that it becomes the most beautiful thing in the world that attracts people. So my prayer on this day, with the appearance of someone like Sacidananda Swami, who inspires me by his kirtan and the way he lives his life based around the holy name. First time, actually, I met, I think we're the same age. And maybe, what year did you join Hare Krishna?
54.
Okay, I'm 56. I'm a couple of years, we're close. And when did you join Hare Krishna movement?
71.
71, so then 2 years older than me there too. I joined in 73. But the first time I heard about Maharaj, but the first time I saw him, I was on my daily parikram. I think it was during the, what year was that big attack on the World Trade Center? 2001. It was 9/11. Yeah, we got on the plane after that. There was nobody on the plane. You were there for that. I think it was before Kartik. It was the Purushottam Mas, if I'm not incorrect. Anyway, we were going around Govardhan every day, and I'm walking through Radhakund, and there's Janavama's sitting place, and you go around, and there's this stairwell that goes down into Radhakund that's there. So I'm just coming around the corner, and all of a sudden Maharaj pops out of there, and he looks at me and he goes, chant, chant. He was in ecstasy. And I think that was Sacidananda Swami. I went home and confirmed it. But those two words stuck in my mind whenever it comes to Maharaj. And so this is a time, we get a lot of ideas here about how to spread the Krishna consciousness movement, and we sort of incubate them. And of course, when it's time for them to happen, I think Victor Hugo once said, nothing is so powerful as an idea whose time has come. And we have to incubate these ideas and keep trying for them with all our heart and soul, keep that vision of how beautiful it would be to see the holy name just blow up all over America, modern terminology. And so, I feel like the time's getting close, don't you all? Yes. To bring it to the point that we really want to see it, and then be able to export it everywhere. New York City and all over the Midwest, Oklahoma, all these places people are drawing up, little spirit souls being oppressed by the material energy. So I feel so grateful, Maharaj, that you came here.
Thank you.
It seems like a harbinger for the next wave of expansion in the Krishna consciousness movement here.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. And we have a few minutes left for some reflections or questions. You can ask Maharaj questions or make reflections. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Whenever I feel morose in my chanting, I used to go to your archives and hear your lectures. And hearing the same voice sitting at your feet makes me feel like the dream come true. Thank you for visiting, Maharaj. And you said that the Bhagavatam sees through our heart and magnifies. And I really felt that your class was like you saw through the pressing question that I had in my heart. Does Krishna even talk? Like that. So, my question is, Maharaj, you mentioned in your class that Lord gives yearningness, so you do not idealize your normal life. So, first part of the question is, does it mean, or do you mean that we do not normalize our material life? Like, I pray to Krishna, I chant, my job goes well, I get money and I get home and everything. Or you talk about the normalization in spiritual life where I chant my rounds, I have little seva and I do it and then everything is going well. Is that why Krishna gives yearnings? So that I don't normalize in those two things? And what does it mean by yearnings? Yearnings doesn't mean that Krishna gives me sufferings. If I have to suffer, then it's painful. But then what is the meaning of Prabhupada saying that chant and be happy if earning means suffering? So how do I understand that, Maharaj?
Krishna, you're very thoughtful. Very nice to hear these reflections. In the first canto of the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada says, one must see the need of the spiritual soul. And then he says, the need of the spiritual soul is a need for unlimited freedom. And that freedom can only be had when one meets the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, for a person who's just starting his or her spiritual life, at the beginning, such a person would think, oh, my life up until now is not really satisfying. I really miss something. And at that time he will yearn or she will yearn or long to leave the material life. I cannot make compromises. I cannot eat non-vegetarian any longer. I cannot take part in these meaningless social events where I am forced to drink alcohol and so on. So for a beginner, this yearning for the unlimited freedom is in a beginning level. But as you become, let us say, a devotee, another sweet yearning develops. Oh, up till now I have really identified with my body and my mind. I cannot remain on this level, or I have become sometimes angry, or I have become envious on the successes of others. I have compared myself and thought, oh, this other person is, I wish I could do so good, and I hope he has some mistake. So at some time then you begin to wake up, no, I cannot remain on this neophyte platform. So yes, there are different types. For different levels of devotees, there are different yearnings. And finally, on a higher level, you would think, I cannot exist without the darshan of Krishna, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has shown. So there are different levels, and it depends on what type of purification you are on. Krishna doesn't always give misery, so that you can wake up from one level and go to the next level. But what he gives is a type of understanding that this is too narrow, this doesn't serve me any longer. And then Krishna gives you this better intelligence to go to the next level. May we all one day, I liked what Vaisesika Prabhu said, as we use our intelligence to spread the glories of the holy name. As we use our intelligence, we will become more and more purified, and then we will yearn for the real thing. And thank you very much. So, such a nice Sangha, all of you. And thank you, Vaisesika Prabhu. I very much like when Vaisesika's ability to bring, let us say, things to a practical step, like he said, let's get our intelligence now together so that we make the chanting in the streets of California and the world. He has a global vision. Arresting, I think was your name. Arresting. Like we are glued to this. Yes, and while doing this, by planning for the spreading of Krishna consciousness, we will become more and more purified. You can see our older devotees, they have gone through purifications. You see them sometimes in the month of Kartik in Vrindavan. I know Vaisesika Prabhu always goes to Vrindavan Dham to read Prabhupada's books exclusively and chant. And there are sweet desires and yearnings. It goes finer and finer and finer. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Very enlightening class. I have one question, and this is an extension to her question, which goes is at a neophyte stage, at least where I am, when we chant, and then we face a problem in life, and then we keep on chanting, and then we have an expectation that okay, this problem should go away. It should go away. 1 year, 2 years. My God, it's not going away. There is a problem. Is chanting really working? And then it's Harinam is Chintamani. So, Krishna, are you listening? So, is anybody listening to me? So, and then to push the chanting, it's a chicken and egg problem. To strengthen the chanting, you need more chanting. To develop the faith, you need more chanting. But then chanting itself is is at a feeble position. So how can we solve this chicken and egg problem? Just an extension on that question.
Do you have any idea?
Do you have an answer?
Yeah. Please.
Well, when I was talking to Maharaj earlier, we had a little time together, and by the way, it wasn't my idea to leave this weekend. I was totally locked in, but I ran into more powerful forces, and I had to go. But Maharaj was so kind, he came over and we had some time together, because we have anyway, it's been really nice. So when I was talking to Maharaj, he said something that stuck in my mind, many things, but one of them was that when people come to a seminar, they have a breakthrough experience. They can come to a retreat, like the Holy Name retreat that Maharaj just did. I was so happy to see, I didn't know certain devotees were there, but they checked in with me from there and said, here we are. And I just knew what was happening to them. Having undistracted time to really focus on the Holy Name. I mean, how much time does one get in a normal day, talk about normalcy, to actually focus? 10 seconds? All day? I mean, in a week, in a month. And you could go 10 years and not actually have one quality moment. But if you can get some quality time, it always works. It's not that it sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. But it's all really about if you give attention to Krishna, at least starting from the level that we're dealing now here in the material world with Krishna in our relationship. He says, Ye yatamam prapadyante. Just give me your, and all we have to give is our attention. So a very practical experience I've had, you go to a seminar or a Holy Name retreat for 3 days, you're not the same afterwards. It readjusts everything. So I see it as important to chalk out time to make sure that you have inspirational sadhana. If you can't do it every day and you're out of the rhythm of doing that, then find a place where you can go and get readjusted. Because don't waste another month, 6 months, year. Do whatever you have to do to make sure you get that so that you come back to that level where I have to have this every single day. That's my solution, is to go to your retreat.
Very good answer.
Just other thing, because Pujari's coming out, hands are going up, Maharaj is here. The articles start in about 4 minutes, and as you're all getting used to, I gotta go, as I have an early flight tomorrow morning. And so Maharaj, if he's still up for it, he mentioned leading the artik, so you don't want to miss that. And I'm going to make a quiet exit out the door with apologies and with permission from Maharaj to right when the clock strikes 8. I'm just saying that now, so there's, okay. You had a point, and we have 3 minutes.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for coming. I was just thinking that anytime I have a question in my mind, usually it's answered by Prabhupada's quotes, or while I'm reading my Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, or through a devotee all the time. And I just wanted to mention that I heard your Living the Holy Name seminar that you did in New Vrindavan, and I was praying that hopefully someday I will listen to it live. And this happened about 3 months ago, and I am thankful that the answer was not silence and you're here. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
But what Vaisesika Prabhu said is really a wonderful thing. We need to sometimes break the cycle of our normal life, and and have something like a breakthrough experience. Very nice.
2 minutes.
Thank you, Maharaj, for coming and gracing us with your presence. So I had question because you are a propounder of holy name for a long time. So just wanted to know like how we can increase our taste for the holy name.
Sheila, because we have only now 1 minute and 30 seconds, it's a mighty subject, but Prabhupada once asked the question, how does someone become a drinker? How does he develop taste in this drinking? And then Prabhupada answered his question by associating with drinkers. You know, they drink and they talk about it, it's so good and so. And so how does one increase his taste in chanting? By having association with those who have that taste. That's Srila Prabhupada's answer to this question.
So now you have Maharaj to yourself the whole weekend. My request is please take really good care of him. He's an international, intergalactical treasure. So please give him all facility and honor and listen very carefully and do everything you possibly can for him. And I'll see you back here Wednesday, Krishna willing, I think, right? Right before we get a big jet and fly off to Sacidananda and see Maharaj again there. So right now we're going to put all the asanas away, roll up this rug, open up the dance floor, and Maharaj will stand over on that side of the room. They'll give him a head mic, or whatever kind of mic he wants, and he'll lead the evening artik, and I bid you adieu. Thank you very much. Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol.
Vanchakabdurvishya Kripasambe Vachapatitanam Bhavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namo Nantakoti Vaishnaviniki Jai.
Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman, hey, Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman.